I call this CUB Board of Directors meeting to order. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. On to approval of vouchers. You've got the copy of the vouchers before you. Do I hear a motion to approve the vouchers?
I'll make that motion.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
The motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And now to item 5, approval of monthly reports for May. General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just going to say we're doing great because Dudley gets tired of me saying anything when we're doing great and nothing when we're not doing great. So I'm just going to turn it over to Dudley, and you can say what you need to, friend.
Man, it really was a good month. The electric department had a net income of $281,000. We're, as you can see, we're ahead of the budget we had for 2022. And then the water department had a net income of $15,000. It's running a little bit behind, but next month you'll see some big numbers next month, not only from the heat and the sales, but also some GASB adjustments that we have to do.
I apologize for the water. I didn't water my yard nearly as much this last month.
That's
Boy, I'm telling you, I did mine, and I'm really not happy that I did.
It was a lifesaver.
Yeah.
I want to show you this because you may be getting some questions from people, think their bill's high. These are the degree days for June. As you can see, the blue is the current year, red's prior year, yellow is 15-year average. So it was really a hot month. June, July also was going to be that way. And then the last thing I want to point out is this is your rates. And when somebody says, well, the rates have gone way up, TVA has a fuel cost adjuster in their rates. It adjusts every month. And as you can see, these last 2 months, it's really climbed. What was 2 cents a year ago as a fuel cost adjustment is now 4 cents. And they blame that on the
Fuel cost.
natural gas pricing has gone out the roof, fuel cost, and that's CUB gains not 1%, not even 0.5% on that increase in fuel cost. That all goes to TVA. So if somebody says, well, that's all of a sudden I'm paying 12 cents a kilowatt hour, whereas last year I was paying 9 cents, that's all TVA. We don't get any of that. So I just want that in your head in case that question's brought up to you. And that's all I have.
Any questions? Hearing none, do I hear approval, a motion to approve the monthly reports?
I so motion.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Project status reports.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're tracking 3 active capital projects right now. And Todd, you're very familiar with these. Is there anything you want to share about that? I know we've got one. We're just waiting on payroll, overhead, stores, and transportation to finish up. We've got a new one that we haven't started yet. But anything you want to say on that and share with the board, that would be great.
Okay, thank you. Yes, the first one there is kind of the last of last fiscal year's budget. We're wrapping up now, complete on it, and the other 2 we're just beginning on there. One on Oliver Springs Highway, kind of a TDOT requirement there, bridge they're rebuilding, we're having to relocate. And the last one on the list there over in New River, where we're kind of in the right-of-way clearing process, kind of the pre-construction right now before we begin setting poles and line construction. That's really the sum of it. All's going well. All those anticipate being completed on time. So, if anybody's got any questions?
Any questions for Todd? Hearing none, moving on to item 7, approval of purchase order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've got one purchase order for you for ductile iron poles. What we try to do is identify where we can, what we call critical area poles, and as we replace them, we're going with ductile iron instead of the wood. We have a favorite pole down by McDonald's that it just attracts cars, and it's got enough stuff on there. It takes half of Clinton out every time somebody hits it. And now they're going to bounce when they hit that because that pole's not going to give very much. And those things are what we do. We've got 20 that we recommend that the board approve for $62,439.20 with Border States Electric. I make a recommendation that the board approve that purchase order.
Do you have a motion to approve?
I make that motion.
There's a motion, is a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Before we move on, Mr. Chairman, I would like to bring to the board's attention of a purchase order that was approved in October the 15th of last year, and it was for transformers. And they had a delivery date. We should have gotten most of these by May, which we haven't gotten. Not only do we not have them, they have gone up in price, which I find so unique. You do a purchase order, and then they say, well, no, we're not only are we not going to fill it, we're not going to fill it in a timely manner, and if we do fill it, it's going to be months late in that. But that original purchase order was for $266,000, I believe, $266, and they've increased that purchase order by $50-some thousand. I think it's 55, Todd, is it 56? Yeah, 50,346.88, and I've approved that we move forward because we need to keep these in the train of delivery. And we've got now some pad mounts that we don't even have a price on yet, and we're going to be getting those.
Right. But
I just need for you to know that the purchase order that was $266 is now $50,000 more than that. And because I think it's $50,436 or $50,346.88, it's $346.88 above what I can approve. So I would like the board to accept the addition on this purchase order of $50,346.88.
do I hear a motion to approve? Motion there's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
What is the new?
Well, we've got some of them coming in July, and the others are what we call TBD. We don't know. We've got other initials for that, but
Originally it was November, but now we're hearing sometime first quarter next year.
yeah. Pad mounts. Pad mounts are the big deal. Pad mounts are the big deal, and whoever has the residential development going on up there, they're I can tell you, the pad mounts are a problem, and that's all underground. I mean, I don't know if they'll be revisiting whether or not overhead is an option, but vaults are already in, the conduits in, which they really, really wanted to put in, and they really did. So if they go overhead, all of that is scrapped. But 2 years, we're looking at 104 weeks without a fixed price, because that's a moving target all the time.
Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved.
Our bad debt write-off, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
we've got, as you can see, Dudley, if you'll just talk about the flex pay, which you were so instrumental in putting together. Thank you, Todd.
Sure. Every year we have to write off bad debts. Of course, we try to collect them, and if somebody moves, we transfer it and all that. But there comes a point where we just have to write them off. They've moved to another system or something. And if you look back in 2009, our write-offs were $327,000. That was right after the 2008 crash, but they still were really high, and they were high before that. We started the flex pay program, the prepay program, in 2013, and you could see how quickly that determined, because what we figured out was most of our write-offs were people that had been there 2 years or less. They move in, they build up a bill, they get a little further behind, they write a bad check, and then they move off. So the prepay program, instead of paying a deposit, they prefer to get on the prepaid program, so they buy energy ahead of time, just like filling up the gas tank. That's the way we sell it. So when it runs out, then the next day it cuts them off. So they come in, they pay some more for energy. They don't have to pay any late fees or deposits. It saves them reconnect fees because it's all automated. But by instituting that program, all of a sudden, as we expected, we saw in 2 years, those bad debts started declining. So you got $90 million in sales, and you're writing off $61,000 in debt that we haven't been able to collect. And if you go to the next slide, this is what we recovered. And you can see when we first started the FlexPay program, we would put these people on debt recovery that we found that owed us previously. And so 30% of whatever they bought would go towards the old bill and 70% to the new. So that quickly caught them up. And then, but you see that number's going down because we're writing off less. There's less to go back and collect now. So you net the two together, you get your total write-offs and how much did you recover, and you net the two together and you got $27,000 that you netted to bad debt on a $90 million year in sales, which is 0.031%. I'd say the hospital would kill for that number, wouldn't they, Steve? So, we have some leverage that you don't, though.
They wouldn't kill, but it would be intensive care.
So we're recommending, the board has to approve the write-offs every year. You have a list of all the individuals. We do try to collect them. We send them to collection agencies, and we look for them when they come back to, and that's how we get the debt recovery. But you all have to approve the write-offs.
So what do you work them, like 12 months or 6 months or something, then eventually just write them off?
Those that we're writing off, we cut off in February.
Okay.
So-
6 months roughly.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, we go 100% reserved in the hospital at 150 days or 180 days, one or the other, depending on building, facility, so that's pretty standard, okay.
So really, that's 4 months. So we're 4 months right there. We're saying we can't collect that.
Where's it going? Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, we recommend the board approve the write-offs that's in the packet that you.
Do I hear a motion to approve? There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. On to other business.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'd like to publicly say, I'm very proud of our crews, both electric and water. We've had a lot of action, and it's been a daily thing, and we have our system has done very well. We've moved a lot of old trees. We've put a lot of people back in service, and our folks have done, I think, a stellar, tremendous job, and we appreciate them so much. And we gave you one example. I put another Flizzer notification, and I know that some may be getting tired of hearing the good things that we're doing, but on the other hand, we were dinged for not sharing enough. So take those as you will. You can always throw those away, but they are concrete indications of how, when what we do here is unlike anywhere else, certainly in our area, and mostly through the valley. There's only probably 4 or 5 in the 7 states that can do what we do and have done what we do, and no one has written that code themselves, So we're very proud of that. It makes a difference on these storm events. When a circuit goes out, we're able to isolate that, minimize the number of folks that are out, and certainly the duration when you're down to seconds instead of hours, and it does make a difference. I'm very proud of that. Also, I want to share with you that there was an article in the Courier, and we were on the front page. CUB has taken over the North Sewer, which was a surprise to us all, and we followed up with that, and certainly the mayor, who is a friend of ours, and And Norris, he apologized. He, like no one else, has control over what the newspapers say, but apparently they have been under a TDEC order and they are in trouble. There's good folks up there in trouble with years. They're trying to make up for years. And I think this was the manager of the water and sewer group out there, and I think he's trying to essentially cloud the issue because a lot of the statements he's made were incorrect. And since we haven't had any negotiations with him, it's amazing that he could come up with it's going to cost 3 times more. And I wonder what, X is to solve on what 3 times is. So what that will do and what I hope for it to do is we're certainly willing to talk to them. We appreciate them. And the bottom line is nobody does sewer in our area like we do. Well, I mean, we are the king of sewer. You can write that down on your book somewhere. We do a good job. We've never been under a TDEC order. Every utility around us has been in TDEC orders. And you take a small community like Norris, they're talking $13 million. They can't raise the rates quick enough or high enough to ever pay the debt service on that. They don't get some grant money, I don't know what they're going to do. They're in trouble. But if they can come to us, they'll have to get across the interstate. Then we'll talk to them about treating that down in South Clinton at a rate that is very competitive, I think. And certainly that'll end their issues with what they have up there, because I just don't know what they're going to do. But I wanted you to know that we were as surprised as you may have been when you read it in the paper. But if it's opened the door for something positive for the good people up in that community, I'm for it. And in order for it to be good for our current ratepayers, I won't be recommending anything that isn't in our interest also. I've been asked by TVA for next week to address a large group of the TVA employees. Apparently they're having what they call an East Region all-hands meeting, just made up of TVA employees, and I am like the token power distributor. They would like to come and talk to them, and I'm going to introduce them to Flizzer and to the virtual power plant, and also they've asked for me to talk about the journey to the long-term power contract, and currently our savings for that is $3.4 million, right at $3.4 million. So, I mean, and there's still some utilities that haven't signed this contract and by not signing that have taken the millions of dollars of savings away from their ratepayers. I don't know how they can justify that. But I put a PowerPoint together for them so I'm going to just wow them with all of that, and I'll be doing that next week. And then next month, Dudley's going to have prepared our annual review of our self-funded health program. And that, Mr. Chairman, is all I have unless someone has a question.
Any other questions for the general manager?
Did the comment?
Comments? Yeah.
Did anybody see on Channel 12 tonight the program about the Daughtery building?
We're aware of it.
That's on the peripheral to my comment. Alan Beauchamp, who was the moderator, who I wouldn't miss if he was never on there again.
Right.
God, he ruined the program. But anyway, apparently he's been in your command center. I don't know when or how, but he compared the CUB command center to NASA.
Yeah.
He said, "I've never seen anything like that other than NASA." So we got a real compliment.
Well, we'll take it. We'll take it because where we put that together, and that's what we got, $3.3 million award out of all what we've done and we put towards that. Everything, all this new here, all the out front and that building was $5 million. And our good friends at LCUB, and I love just bringing them up every time I can, LCB, 50-some million, $55 million. And they came here to see what we did. And apparently they did it much more expensively. $55 million, we're paying $55 million. $55 million is what they put into theirs. And they can't do what we do.
Any other comments?
I'd like to say one thing. My wife continues to update me from time to time on social media postings and things like that. And she was talking this past week how everybody, you know, that she saw some postings on CUB and how they reacted to this past storm that went through Clinton, and how positive everything was on social media about how our employees reacted, and how appreciative everyone was of the timeliness of getting out and doing things within the community. In a town like Clinton, where you can't even get people to agree on whether they like a Chinese restaurant or not, but it seems like everybody's in concert that the service, that they're getting, at least the ones that care enough to post.
I went in for those comments, and I liked every one. But Debbie's, I think I put loved.
Any other comments?
I just want to amen what Steve said. We all see those comments, but for some reason this time, it seems like the tide has turned around and we got extra special and even more comments. And that was nice to see. 'Cause
Well,
we've
I
had
think there
5
were so
others,
many, and when they looked at Knoxville, maybe we had 114 out, Knoxville had 8,000 out, you know, and we got ours back on. I mean, how many, we lost poles and wire and everything.
Yes.
So the onesie twosies, that, you know, they had a difficult time, but
Yeah, but that was such a pivotal point to see all the compliments instead of all the criticism. So compliments to you and the team for
And it was a very visible event when you drove through town.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps to see, people can see the damage, they can relate to it more maybe.
I saw a lot of pictures of our linemen and the trucks and everybody complimenting their efforts, so that's a compliment to
thank
the
you.
entire CUB.
Any more compliments, or comments or compliments?
Take your time.
Well, I want to say, as chairman of this board, it's an honor to sit in this seat, and I'm speaking directly to those linemen and CUB employees that worked tirelessly, that worked 20 hours plus straight. We appreciate you. I know management appreciates you, but I think it's important that you hear from the board the comments that were made. We acknowledge the value that you add to this community, and we deeply appreciate it, and keep up the good work. You set the standard, you set the tone. I'm just as proud as I can be to be associated with this utility, because it's made up of men and women such as yourself. So carry on and do great work.
Thank you.
With that,